Okay, so here's my part 2 of my long-term review on the 2017 Honda Rebel 500 ABS. So yeah, I love this bike. I actually just got it back from the shop here, and it's got almost 6,000 miles on it. So it's like 5,500 miles on it, and I just had them put a new chain on it. So you know, a lot of guys would just adjust it back one. But you really probably only get one adjustment out of it when you pull it back, and then the next time you have to do the sprockets anyways. So I just decided to get a new chain. I was kind of getting worried about it's starting to sag a little bit too much for my liking. But yeah, so one of the things I would definitely say about this bike is that it's a great starter bike. So that's the thing, is, you know, there's all kinds of awesome cruisers out there, but you know, being a new rider, I've only been riding for a year now. I wouldn't advise somebody to just jump out and, you know, get like a 900cc cruiser or 1100. You know, it can just be really dangerous when you're just getting used to a bike and used to the clutch. And when you got so much power, yeah, I can definitely see how, you know, a lot of guys go down. I think the statistic is like it's 40 or 60% of new riders go down in the first 6 months. I think it's actually 60%. So yeah, so I definitely recommend this bike though, because it's super friendly. I mean, it's not, you know, the clutch is easy, and it's, you know, I haven't had any situations where I felt like I was gonna really lose control of the bike. But you know, it does take, you know, maybe like a week or two to get used to the power of it. But yeah, it's definitely like a starter friendly bike. You know, and then after you've been riding it for several years, then yeah, you know, if you want, you know, jump on up to the bigger bikes there. You know, from a 500, you can jump onto almost anything after that. But yeah, so you know, one of the people on my previous vlog, they commented about, you know, whether or not I like this bike, or they couldn't tell if I still like the bike. Yeah, I love the bike. It's an awesome bike, and it's a great first bike. Yeah, I think it's like, yeah, I would kind of look at like someone like Floyd Money Mayweather or Jay Leno. You know, I mean, there is no one bike. I mean, these guys have, you know, I don't know, who knows how many cars or whatever they have in their garage, but there is just no one bike that's going to just do it all for you. I mean, it's a starter bike, but it's an awesome starter bike, and you definitely won't regret getting this bike. So anyhow, you know, so you can see my new chain there. So that's really, you know, other than lubing the chain every 500 miles, even though the manual says 600 miles, this is really the only major thing I've done. I've done a few modifications on the bike. It's added the chain guard here. I'm really digging that. I just added that a couple weeks ago. And then I added the grill guard up here in the front, because the one that came with it was real plasticky and cheap, and so was the chain guard was real plasticky and cheap too. So it just kind of adds a cooler look to it. It also protects that radiator a lot more. And then you can, obviously I did the exhaust there. So yeah, I'm super happy with the bike. Mechanically, I haven't had any issues with it. At one point I thought I had an oil leak, but it was actually right in the beginning. It turned out I was putting too much lube on it, and I wasn't wiping the sides of the chain off, so it was like flinging everywhere, and it flung around so much it looked like I had an oil leak, but I didn't. It was just me. It was just, you know, rookie error. But beyond that, the only other thing I could say on the bike, the only braking issue I had was with the turn signal right here. That in the beginning, maybe like the first 1,200 miles, it wouldn't. It was real hard to shift it to the right. It was like you had to go to the left, then to the right to signal right. So it's kind of weird, but you know, it was just a braking thing. And after about 1,000 miles, it wore into its groove, and now you can go either way real easy with no issues. But beyond that, there's been no braking problems with the bike, and yeah, I'm just super happy with it. Yeah, I almost got the Honda Shadow Phantom. I was like a millimeter away, and one of the things that the guy told me was, oh yeah, because it's got the shaft drive. And you know, probably one of the downsides is, you know, well, any person getting their first bike, you kind of have to decide between, you know, getting a chain-driven bike, which probably requires a little bit more work, more adjustment, you know, lubing every about 500 or 600 miles, or getting a shaft drive. The thing about the chain drive is it's only it's the least amount of power loss in the transfer. So it's only like a 3% power loss in the transfer. The shaft drive is like over 30%. So, but you don't have to worry about lubing the chain. I think it's like every 30,000 miles. The shaft drive is more maintenance free, but you lose a lot of power. So I'm almost kind of glad I didn't get that Shadow Phantom. And then the other one is the ribbed belt, which I guess you only have to change every 15,000 miles. That one seems like a pretty cool option. I didn't know about it at the time, but those bikes tend to be a little bit more expensive that have that ribbed belt there. I know it's like $300 or $400 every time you got to do that. So anyhow, yeah, so that's my part 2 long-term review. Hope you enjoyed it, and definitely like, subscribe, and welcome any positive comments and feedback. Enjoy. Safe riding.